Hi everyone, welcome to workshop number 6. Hey, we're here. So good to see you all here. This is workshop number 6. On this workshop, I've got the amazing David with me. So Dave, you going to pop up? There
Hi
he is.
guys.
So the dream team are back. We're going to be looking after you today. So I'm going to be carrying on with courses part 2. David's going to look after the chat and stuff as we go through the training, and then we're both going to be on for the Q&A afterwards. So as usual, we're looking for around about an hour and a half-ish, depending on how many questions you've got. Remember, each workshop is focused on a particular thing. So this is courses. So if you have a course-related question, get it ready and we'll get to it in the Q&A session afterwards. If you start talking about other random live stuff that's not related to a course, then we're going to refer you back to that or session 11. And session 11 is where we'll do the full-on open Q&A for the whole system. And everybody's going to be there on that one. So how does that sound to all you amazing people? Are you all here with me? Yeah, you're all here. Hey, Toronto, Aville's back in. Scott's in. Good morning, Scott. Um, New Jersey, is that? Sandy, I think. NJUS. Yeah, cool. Okay, doke. Right. Shall we get cracking? I think so. Right, let me get my screen ready and we'll do a bit of the usual. Where are we? Way too many tabs open. Here we go. Let's go. So, quick recap for you all. I'm going to turn me off because you know what I look like. You don't need to see me. So 11 sessions, tour of Zenler workshop. We are up to session 6. So we've covered session 1. And by the way, to answer some of the questions that have come in regarding the replay, or when we send it, if you subscribe to the funnel, so which is the first link that comes up when I set these sessions up, we've been doing the pre-promotion for all of the sessions. It's in there as well. You'll get the Zoom link. You'll also get the replay link, and the replays, I'm going to say conservatively, are up within 24 hours. They're normally up way, way quicker than that, but you'll find them in there and it's on one page. It rolls down so you can watch all of the replays there. Remember, with Facebook's new weird rules of deleting lives after 30 days, it's not going to stay in the Facebook group for longer than that time. So we're going to get warned and they're going to get rid of them. So you need to be subscribed to the funnel to be able to get the replays past that time. Okay, so just please remember that. So live 1, session 1, dashboards and menus. I took you through that. We had a great session on there, navigating our way around the platform. Everybody seems to quite enjoy understanding a little bit more how that operated. David took the lead on session number 2, which was the page builder, the fundamental, the core part of how we use Zenler. We use it in a lot of the areas in Zenler when we're doing courses, when we're doing live, all of those things. Wherever there's a page, we need to understand the page builder. So that was a really good session on, how does it work? How's it built to put an element in and all of those types of things. And then looking at the mobile version as well, which is just as important these days. Then we had session number 3 with me, pages and blogging, looking at the different pages, logged in, logged out pages. It's been amazing to see people coming in and sharing that they've changed their logged in page now, which they hadn't before. That really makes me happy when I see that, because it means you're progressing your site, you're making it better, you're making the experience better for people that have shown a commitment to you. So that was really exciting to see. And then, of course, the blogging area, all of the inbuilt SEO elements to that and how you can operate the blog area and the blog posts for your business to get engagement and more people in, and also to use it for existing students and locking it out from the public. It was a good one on the blogging if you've not looked at that yet. Somebody did say in the group that they just set up a blog based on that session. So I was really pleased to see that. Then in session 4, we had my mate. She was looking at the 5 different types of lives that we offer directly within the Zenler platform, all using the Zenler Zoom, if you like. You can, of course, bring your own Zoom, but if you don't have that and you just want to ditch that subscription and use our Zoom, that's perfectly fine if you're on the appropriate plan. And we covered all of those. The age-old question, what's a live webinar and live interactive webinar? Do you know the difference? If you still don't know the difference, you need to go and watch session number 4, workshop 4, because we covered all of that in there. And then, of course, we had Thursday courses with me where we looked at setting up a course, what's a bundle, how to do pricing, and the basic setup of what do you get when you start a course, and then the dashboards associated, finding some of the reports and bits and bobs like that. And then that brings us on to session number 6, which is today. So session number 6, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. There we go, so I can get the right page up. So session number 6, we're going to look at the contents within a course and all of the elements we can add in to make our courses better, more different, more engaging, and something that will start to really excite our students to the point where they have the highest probability of completing your course. And that's within any type of course, that's the biggest goal. That's the hardest thing to achieve, is to encourage your students to go through and to complete a course. It's what we all strive for. We know course completion rates are quite low, but we can do stuff by adding in different types of elements within a course to encourage people to mix it up a little bit, to get them a little bit more engaged with what you're doing. And with the way that communities come into courses as well, and we have all sorts of different elements, we can really start to carry those conversations on and have that level of interaction where people want to come back, they want to do more, they want to achieve the goal of the course, to complete that one thing, to learn that skill that you're teaching them within that course, because ultimately that's it. They come in wanting to learn this, you teach them how to do that, and then they walk away having been able to do that, whatever that thing is, right? And I'm going to continue with my example today of learning to walk a large breed dog, because I've had large breed dogs all my life, and believe me when I tell you, they can be challenging at times. So let me get my page up and we're going to get straight into this. Got all my pages messed up, so bear with 1 second. Here we go. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll turn myself off again. Hopefully I'm sharing the correct screen. Well, you could see all sorts of things. Who knows? Okay. Here we go. So we're in the dashboard. We know the dashboard. We're going to go straight over to courses. And then we're going to look at my how to walk my large breed dog. So that's the course that we set up on Thursday in session 5. So we went through the overview, the course details. We got AI to create a curriculum for us, if you remember rightly. It looked quite good. I wasn't going to go in there and do it myself. You add those bits in as you've probably already got a curriculum set out or thought of a curriculum process. It's all part of your creation process for putting your course together. We've got the pages already done, so I'm not going to go into adding pages in. Pricing we've set. The drip we can look at. The automations we're going to cover with ManMeet when we talk about emails. That comes under email, so we're not going to look at that right now, and we know about students. So the bit we're focusing on today is the curriculum, and this is the bit that really excited me when I first got involved with Zen all those years ago. So when we start to build our course out, we have a different ways. It's a bulk standard way of doing this. So we have a section, and the section is like the title, and then underneath that we can add lessons in. Now there's different ways that we can do this when we decide to do it. So let's address that first. So we've got pre-made content. We've got maybe, let's say we've got 3 or 4 videos that we want to add in. When I first started doing this, my courses would have probably 30 to 50 videos per course. And other platforms will make you load them up one by one. And we have this really lovely bulk upload feature here. So we can click on that, and what it will do is it will open a little window, and it will let me select all of my files that I want to upload into this course. And with the click of a button, I can select them, click upload. It will add them all into my course, and by default add them all into my media library. So I can go away, have a cup of tea for 5 minutes. When I come back, it's all done for me, and it'll just list it all down here, which is great. I really enjoy that feature. That for me saves so much time. Now, underneath our lessons here, we can bulk load up within a section, which is there. We can copy a lesson, which is really interesting. This does come up infrequently, but it does come up. Can we add in lessons from other courses and things like that? Well, we can. So we can select the course that we want to take a lesson from. So it could be how to bathe your psychotic cat. It will then come up with the lessons that I've got in there. I haven't got many lessons in there. I click that and then click copy, and it will add it into this course. So that's quite nice. So a nice little make my life easier type of thing. So if you'd created, let's say, for example, two courses, one on how to walk my large dog and one on let's say how to groom a dog, groom a large dog. They were two separate courses, but you wanted to add in a sort of an extra or a sort of a walk into what the next course could look like for them, you could add that in as a bonus lesson and just drag it straight in from your other course if you wanted to. Of course, we're not limited to what we can have in here. We can just add lessons in as we go along, and it will just come up with an untitled lesson, and then we need to go through the process of actually creating what that is. We can have as many sections as we want, and we open and expand them like this just by clicking that. If we don't like the order that we've got them in, we can just drag and drop them down and shift around the order. It's a little bit fiddly at times, but that's how it works. And we can do the same if we close these up with the sections as well. So if we want to reorder the sections, we can do it just like that. So it's just click, hold, and drag. So pretty straightforward, right? So that's the structure of the course content that we have in there. So we create our section, that's like a subheading if you like. Then we've got our individual little lessons in there, and then we can move on to our next section, add our lessons in, next section, add our lessons in. So it's really easy how we can do that. We've got little preview buttons here if we want to have a look at how it looks. We've also got a preview button up here, so we can check out what our course curriculum as a student looks like there as well. So just if you wanted to, what's it looking like for the public, if you like, then that's where you can do that. So let's get into the actual content itself and what, let's call it for each lesson. So we've got our lesson name, that's what it's going to be called. So this could be, what do I have? The importance of proper leash and collar control. Let's do it on this one, actually. Now, we have some options to consider when we go through this. So the first set of options we have is what we're going to do for this particular lesson. Are we going to enable this as a free preview? So even if it's on a paid course, people can see it and experience that one lesson. We do this sometimes because we want to give people a taste of what the course is about. And we don't want to have to set up a whole nother thing, put the video there and watch this and watch that. It all becomes a bit messy. We can just make a free preview on that. And that's a really nice way of doing that. We can set it as a draft, so therefore it doesn't get published if we're still working on it. If we've got other things we want to add in. So if you've got a live course with people in, you're adding in, let's say, a new section, and you're not quite ready to release this yet because you're still working on it, we can set it as a draft. Okay. We can set it as compulsory. So remember, we've got these little question marks here. So your student would need to mark that as completed lesson before it will allow them to move on to the next lesson or the next section. So you do sometimes get questions on those where people will go, oh, I can't unlock the next bit. Why is the next bit not showing for me? Why can't I get access to the next bit? It's normally because you've set this as compulsory and they've decided not to click complete and they've done it. That's normally why it is. We can enable a discussion, and I'm hovering on this so you can just read this as I'm talking to you. So the discussion, this lets the students that are in there have a conversation on that one lesson. So it's great, but you've got to monitor it. So if you do enable it, then make sure that you do keep on top of the conversation that's going on regarding that. So that's your first set of stuff that you need to consider when you're putting your course in. So that's the behavior of the course, if you like. Now, adding content is quite easy, and Zenler's made this super simple. So all we have to do, we have lots of options here as to what we can add in to our course. And believe it or not, this is actually quite a lot of choice. So we'll know we can add a video in. So I'm just going to add bits in as we go along. So I'm not even going to look at what it is. I'm just going to click right, select. I've added my video in. It then drops down here. Now, what we need to remember is the order that it shows here is the order that it will show on the page. Okay, so when people look at it, let me see if I can show you a preview. So we're on the importance of proper leash control, and that's my video that I've just put in. Okay, so that one's really easy, really super simple. We can add an audio in. So people often talk about, well, I want to do like a podcast or stuff like that. Well, we can add audio in here. And remember, via the app, people can access your course, and therefore they can just listen to it via the course that you create. So you could, I know people that have just literally had their whole course filled with audios because they just want people to listen to it via the app. So we can add an audio in here. I don't think I've got any audios in this particular account. Let me just stop sharing that for a moment and I'll upload one. So bear with me 1 second. I know I've gone black on my screen, but I can't really show you all the stuff that I've got. Just going to share my screen again. It's just uploading my audio now. I've just put that in there. So this is an MP3 file, which is your audio file, or WAV. And you can add those in, and it will take a little minute just to upload it. It's probably my computer that's running slow on this rather than the system. We just have to be a little patient. If we do a bulk upload, this is why I really like to do bulk uploads. If I've got all my content pre-prepared, I'll do a bulk upload, then I can just literally just walk away and it's uploading the whole lot, come back to it, go off, mess about with my sales page or whatever it might be, just to save that bit of time. But it means you have got to sit there looking at this bar growing, because it never goes as quick as you really want it to go, especially when you're doing a live training and you forgot to upload the MP3 that you should have had in here. So as I'm just talking through this, I'm hoping it's really going to accelerate and go a little bit quicker. But as you can see, we're not far away now. So let me just hang on 1 sec while that's uploading. But bulk uploading for this is really helpful. And remember that we can order it in our media library as well. So we can add tags into our media. So if we're setting up course number 1, we might want to put all of our assets with one tag against all of the media stuff that we've got for it. So videos, MP3s, PDFs, PowerPoints, whatever it may be. So that's how that will look. Right, we're almost done now.
Yeah, I think it's with the the audio uploads. It's a good idea. It's like Kevin's. We do all this stuff live, so stuff takes longer, and we're streaming as well, so it takes even longer to upload. But you can, if you do the bulk, it can upload a lot quicker.
Yeah, 100%. Right, it's uploaded now. So let me just show you what that looks like. So let's just refresh this page. And all things being equal, it should show me underneath the video that I've got a little audio here now. Shall I play it for you? Can you hear that? Doesn't that sound nice? A little bit of chill for Saturday afternoon. So as you can see, video we did first, we then did the audio, so it's gone underneath it. Now, if we don't like the order that it's in, just like we can over here, we can just do a drag and drop. If it will let me do it, it probably won't, because it gets really fussy with me. But believe me, it works. We'll do another one in a minute, but it will work. So we can drag and drop and reorder. Okay. Then we've got our ebook. So our ebook, I'm going to take these out because you know what they look like. So our ebook works on the basis of a PDF. So upload a PDF, or if we've got a PDF library, I think I've got one in here somewhere. So I'm just going to put that one in there. And that will then load in. Select. Select. Don't click on there because it will just open the file. Note to self. So there that is in now. So that's going really quick. So if we just flip over here, reload our page. This is what our flip PDF book looks like. Now, I really like these. I think this is one of the features that's vastly underused by Zenler users. We can pull it and drag it, and doesn't that, I mean, from an experience point of view, that looks far better than just showing a whole heap of pages on here. And you can have different views. You can look at it how you want to look at it. You can jump around, all sorts of stuff. So
Even says the it even makes the flipping sound, doesn't it? We can't hear it from yours, but it makes flip.
yeah. So the ebook is a really nice addition for people if that's how you want to deliver a PDF. We've then got PowerPoint. That's quite straightforward. I don't have any PowerPoints. I'm not going to go through uploading it again. It will take too long, but it just goes through as a PowerPoint. We've got a standard PDF. So if we want to add that in, just to show you how that looks. So that's our book that we've got, our flip book there. And this is how a standard PDF will look. So if you don't put it in an ebook, it will just look like this, literally just pages and pages and pages that people have to scroll through. Okay. So you can, and this is exactly the same as what's in here. It's just laid out differently. And isn't that nicer, I think, than looking like that? Now, you may want it like that because maybe you want people to scroll through like that. I don't know. But you have the option of doing either or. We've then got a text box. So a text box, like all of the editors, and we've been through the editors before. You'll see this in the emails and places like that. We saw this in the blog when we did the blogging area on day 3. This is just very similar. Type in whatever you want to type into it. We can do all of the formatting. We can add images in. We can put links into stuff if you want to link out to different places. All of the formatting that you'd need. And that's what we would put into that. Okay, I'm not going to show you what that looks like because it's pretty self-explanatory. Now we get into a bit more of an interesting one. So people often talk about the restrictions that are available within any type of platform, and the custom HTML code is quite a good one. So, for example, if you wanted to show a video, I'll use video as an example because it's easy, but if you wanted to embed a Google form, or if you wanted to embed something else, or if you wanted to embed a calendar, or you wanted to embed a video, this is where you can do it. So if it's not able to be uploaded directly by the Zenler platform, as in the ones that we've already gone through, you want to add something in, then this is how you do it. So you would go over to YouTube. Obviously, you'd pick the best YouTube channel that you can find. Oh, look, I found Zenler's. Pick your video that you want to pick.
Here's what it does. You can turn a single selfie into professional photos in literally minutes. Create super.
Listen to the advert. You don't need to listen to the advert. Then click on share, and then we find this code here. So you'll notice that the symbol looks the same, and it'll open up all of this iframe stuff here. You don't need to understand any of it. You just need to be able to copy it. So all you do is just copy. You go back over to here. So HTML code. You paste it in and you click save. And now when we go and preview that page, can see our book, we can see our PDF, we can see a little bit of text here. And oh look, we can see our video that's now embedded. And they can play it directly there. Or they can click through and watch it on YouTube. So that's as an example. So if there's another software you have that you're like, I really want to include that in my course, but I want to put it in there, and there's an option to get an embed code from that software, then that's how you do it, and that's the section that you put it into. So that's under custom code. Downloads behave a little bit differently. So if we want our students to be able to download something, we could just give them, so let's just use that one as an example. That's going to be my that's my audio file. So if we said to them, right, rather than just playing the audio, if you want to download it, I'm giving it to you, you can download it onto your phone or whatever you want, then you can add that in, and it works for any download. Any file that you want them to be able to download, that's where you would put it. Okay, so let's just have a look and see what that looks like. There you go, and it will tell you downloads. It's got a little headphone on it because it's telling you it's an audio, and you just click on that, it will open up either on your phone or on your laptop or desktop, and it will allow them to be able to save it. So that's a really nice one. Whenever I've done courses before, if I've given them a PDF, I tend to put the download link there as well, because otherwise people might get frustrated. They might want to read it on a different in a different way at their own time, maybe when they've not got the internet available to be able to be online and read it. So that's a nice little addition there. Right, let's get rid of some of these things. Of course, here we can edit stuff and we can delete out everything that we don't want. So it's pretty straightforward to be able to do that. And as it's doing this, it is saving it, as you can see when we go on to the live view. So that's video, audio, ebook, PowerPoint, PDF, text, custom code, and downloads. Now we get into a bit more interesting ones. So we're going to look at the quiz builder. Okay, so we can only access this within courses. So we want to give a quiz a title. So let's call it I'm just going to call it training my dog. Now you can grade the quiz if you want, or leave it ungraded. And there's options, different options come into play when it's graded. So therefore, if they don't pass, then they can take it again and that type of thing. I'm going to leave it ungraded for the benefit of this. I can also use create a quiz with AI. So if I want to do it that way, I would literally just go in here. It will give me some options here. So it's got the name of what I want to put in there. It's given me, this is the type of questions. It's going to make up 3 questions for me. It's going to be, e.g., how to train your dog. I'm going to add in a text over here, so I can click on text. So it's still multiple choice. Questions. Dog. Make it easy. I don't want to make it too hard for them. And then I'm just going to click generate. And the Zenler AI will whiz off into the internet and work some stuff out for us whilst it's thinking about it. And I really like the Zenler AI because it does come up with stuff that you might not have thought about. So what is an important factor to consider when walking a large dog? That's quite good, isn't it? And the correct answer here is ticked. Leash strength and quality, weather forecast for the day. I'd say that's quite important, but and you can change these if you think that one is or that one is, or if you want to change the answers, you can go in and type different questions in there. You can add other options if you want. You can make this required. You can randomize the questions and you can align. So they're aligned vertically rather than horizontally. We can change the order over here of what order that they're asked in. We can add more in if we want. We do have a thank you page. So thank you for completing the quiz, etc., etc. And we do have a results page. You've passed the quiz. So it needs to be graded for, remember at the beginning where we said graded or not, to have a results page, then you've got to have that on there. Now, when we go over to quiz settings, we've got general. So this is for, this isn't ticked because we've not got a graded quiz. We can enable them to retake it. So 2 times. We can enable a review, show the results of each question. So let's do that. And we can randomize the questions if we want. We can get on to advanced. We can have a progress bar with different styles. They look quite nice. We can have a timer. If you want to set a timer for a question, we can have that in there. I'm not going to set a timer. We have different themes for how it looks. So let's go back over to themes. I really like these. I don't have any of my own themes set up, but you can pick whatever one you want. Make it look a bit different. It changes. Did you just see how it changed the black writing into that? So it makes it so you can see it. I think that's quite cool. And then we can change the language. This isn't French, English, Spanish, American. This is the language on the buttons. So if you want to change what it says on the start button, submit button, you know, just to make it a bit more you, then that's fine. And then we can preview. So this is what it looks like. So you can see that thing here. Oh, look, I got it right. Why is an important factor to consider when walking with a very large dog? Let's go for one that's wrong. Weather. Submit. Next. Which of the following is good practice? I don't know. No, I got it wrong. Finish. Thank you for completing. So there we go. So that's what your quiz will look like. And if we come back over into here, we'll see that it's added the quiz in here. Right, it's already added it in for you. Now, surveys are a bit different. So quizzes are to test someone's knowledge. So, you know, just like we did there, what lead, you know, I've taught you in my course what lead to use. What lead would you use? A 3-inch lead, a 6-inch lead, or a 20-inch lead for a large breed dog if you're walking. Right, so things like that. Have they understood and have they learned what you've taught them within that lesson or that section, or even at the end of the entirety of the course, right? So that's what a quiz is for. A survey is a bit different. A survey is about getting feedback. So this works slightly differently. And when we go into surveys, so survey title, I'll just put in what's in there. It doesn't matter what I call it. So we can add in different questions. Now, these for me are quite exciting to look at when we look at this, because we have multiple choice, we have true or false, we can have a rating, you know, so you could ask your question in here and then get a rating description off of it, 1, 2, 3, etc. If you want more, you can have more stars, you can have, you know, whatever you like. We've got a scale, so a sliding scale. So, you know, you've all seen surveys like this. How happy were you that you understood this module, 1 to 5? Yeah. Do you think that you learned everything you needed to about walking a dog? Yes, excellent. I'm going to pick number 5, that type of thing. We've got a free text element in there and we've got a fill in the blanks. The fill in the blanks came in recently. So you can add in whatever you wish into that and then get them to put the last word in. So, and all of these, just like everything else, can be set as required or not required. So they can't move on to the next part of the survey until they actually complete that. Then we've got our survey settings. So we've got a general, so enable retake, it's defaults to 2. They can review, a bit like the quizzes. We can randomize the questions that come in here. We can enable the progress bar. We can add a timer in if we want. So that will come along the top now. We can add our themes in again. And again, we can use language that we have here. So we can go through and add all of that in. And of course, there's a thank you for completing the survey here. So it does have different elements to it than the quiz does. So, and they're both here. So if we just go and have a look at this on here, we just refresh. Might have to take those out. Right, so there's my quiz. And there's my survey. Okay, and that's what it would look like for my students. So if I wanted to go through that, or if I wanted to go onto that, I didn't add anything in, that's why it's all blank. So these are really nice additions to have within your courses. And for you to be able to get an understanding, so it's fun for your students to go through them because they like answering stuff, right? But it's really useful information for you to be able to understand whether your training is going above their heads, are they understanding, are they implementing, and all of those types of things. So that's quizzes and surveys. I'm going to skirt over this bit. If David in the Q&A wants to cover that and talk about that, that's outside of my remit. Never used it and I won't. But there is a case point for that. But David will cover that in the Q&A. We'll go on to live next because live's really easy. So we covered lives in session 4 with Manmeet, where we could have a live and we could add it into a class. So you'll see these here. We can either have a live class in or we can have a one-to-one booking coming here. So you would set those up in the live area, and then these would be included within the course area. So they could run directly either through it or people could join it coming in via the course rather than having to go over to other links and stuff like that. So it's a really nice quality of life thing for your students to not have to keep dotting around all over the place to find stuff. It's all within that area there. And if you're running, for example, you might have a course set up just for doing a weekly live with them or something like that. And then you want to add in different assets after the live. So you might decide that every week you're going to do a live on progressing this, that, and the other. But each time after the live's finished, you want to give them some extra information, either a handout, maybe a transcript of the live or something like that. Then you might want to add it into a course, add the live in, and then underneath after the live's finished, you can then put that in there for them. So there's different use cases for how you would do that. And then last but not least, we've got assignments. So assignments is where people can feed back to you on a one-to-one basis. So this comes directly back to you as the instructor. Now, we do have different things that we can do in here. We could just add in a title. We can add in all of our month in here. You need to go off and do this. Send me a file that does this, etc., etc. And we can decide what type of thing that we want in here. So do we just want them to write back to us, or do we want them to write back to us and upload something as well? So I might say in here, right, you've learned how to walk with a dog on a big lead. Take a quick 10-second video of you walking with your dog with your new lead, right? And then therefore they've got to go and send me that file, upload it, and then I can click here, and until I approve that that assignment has been done okay, they can't move on to the next lesson. Okay? So these are really good for making people feedback to you directly, because the quizzes and the surveys are brilliant. They're really a case of we're guiding them to the answer that we're looking for. We want to test their knowledge. The assignments are different. We're saying go off and do this and then show us what you've done. And that's where the assignments come in. And therefore, if you're going through with a smaller group of people and you want that backwards and forwards type of thing with them, then the assignments will really help. It'll also mean that they can't move on. So you might be teaching basic dog lead handling skills for large dogs. You don't want to move it on to more advanced lead handling skills until they know the basics. So until they've sent you that video to say, right, I'm showing you I can actually do this, you're going to go, yeah, that's right. Or you could go back and go, actually, you need to go back to lesson number 2 or 3 or 4 because you've not quite got that right. And then once you've done that, resubmit, and then we'll be able to move you on. So discussion points are really interesting. So let's take these out. And let's see what that looks like. And you can see this is where people can feedback, and then I can upload here. So my instructions will be here. Okay, that's their assignment. They've got to upload it here, submit their assignment, and then we can add in comments here. And this is a private conversation between you and them. This isn't public for anybody else to see. Unlike the community discussions, that can't happen here. So this is just between you and them. So they're the components of what you can add into a course. Now, I think these are really quite interesting when we look at these. Now, with the quizzes and the surveys and all of that stuff, when we go over to our report tab and we looked at where these were before, we can see here for our quizzes and surveys, this is where it will show the results of all of those. So when they submit their quiz or they submit their survey, this is where we're going to find it. And then we can just do a search. I haven't got any submitted here, so I can't show you, but we could do a search for when the course started and just see what comes in through there. Okay, so they're really easy to find. The assignments tab over here is where we'll find the submitted assignments. So you can see here, there's one being submitted here. We can manage that assignment. Okay. So please record yourself playing a scale, that's all in there. And I've got nothing else going on. So that's the discussion point one that I've just added. So I've got none to review. Nobody's submitted one, but this is what it was all about. This was the description. This was the course, but I've got none to actually mark or to say yes or no because nobody's submitted any. But that's where you find it. So assignments are here. For the quizzes and surveys, you go to reports. And it's now. I'm actually just thinking to myself as I'm looking at this that it would be really nice to have a tab here that says quizzes and surveys, a bit like we've got assignments. I think I'll put that in as a suggestion. Anyway, I think that covers the majority of what you can add into a course. I'm going to open this up now because I think that concludes it. I think we've covered a lot in here. So I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions. So I'm going to come back on screen. David's going to come back and join me. We are, if we haven't already, I think we're going to open it up for you all to be able to. Oh, you can come on. Yeah. You can start video.
Yeah, everybody should be able to start their videos. So yeah, loads of questions coming in, Kevin. I was really failing there trying to answer them all. Right? There was so many. Sandy, where's Sandy? She's been, yeah, that's you, isn't it? Yeah. You've been sending me a lot of questions.
Sorry, David.
Somebody just made a good point, so I'm just going to address that point before we take any questions, which is what is the assignment for you lot to do today? So it's a two-pronged approach. So if you do not have a course yet up and running, get a course up and running. That's so if you do not have one live, get one live. So that's an assignment if you don't have a course. If you already have a course set up that you've got students in, or you're selling, or you're promoting, and it might be a free course, doesn't matter. I want you to add another element into your course that you've never added in before. So that might be you decide to add a quiz in, or you add a survey in, or you add an assignment in.
I got a good one. Put a bonus in there telling people about your other course that maybe you've got. That could be good.
So if you've not got a course, get your course up and out. If you have got a course, enhance that course by adding something in that you haven't got in there or you've never put in before. All right. A quiz is a really easy one because you can use the AI, put in your proper title, and it will come up and it will give you some suggestions anyway. Right. So, and people love a quiz, right? So that, and it doesn't have to be really, really long. Just do that and put that up. Okay.
Kevin, that was one of my main questions. You brought up the idea of the AI creating quizzes. Where is the AI drawing from? Is it drawing from your course content or the web?
It will based on the title you give it. I'm pretty sure it's going to draw from the web. I don't think it draws out of the course, does it? I don't think it does that. I think it just draws out of the web based on the title you give it, which is why it will come back with some stuff that looks okay and some stuff that is just completely not right.
So the more detailed our topic, the better. Then we'll get a better result of suggested questions.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go full on, you want a quiz wrote for you, then you need to go into something like ChatGPT and put in a really detailed, proper prompt. Um, the one that's in Zenler is there to sort of just give you some more ideas to work with. It's not going to do the whole thing for you. If you go
Right.
into like a proper AI writer and you know how to write a really detailed prompt and you've trained it, then you could go in and it could probably do the whole thing for you, right? But then you've got to literally take it all and copy and paste it over. The Zenler AI one puts it in there for you
Right.
and it will do it based on the type of quiz question that you want to ask. So, which is quite nice as well.
Yeah, it does use ChatGPT, so it is actually using that engine. Okay, so if you
Okay.
if you are thorough with it, but like Kevin said, if you're gonna you need to be checking through this stuff. You probably know the sort of questions that you want
Yeah.
to ask at the level you want to ask at that point, and I would advise to actually write it yourself and maybe then get it to check through ChatGPT and put it in there. But it's really good. I mean, it's really handy to put it in there and generate some questions really quickly for you inside Zenler. And it's like I use the Zenler AI all the time for like little blocks of text I put in. I just type away loads of typos. I just get it to regenerate, copy it, put it in there, and it's correct. So I use that. But if I'm doing like a whole blog post, then I'll actually go and use Perplexity or ChatGPT to generate a nice outline and then generate content off of that outline. And Zenler's not really designed to do that kind of stuff, maybe later, but you've got ChatGPT.
I was just going to say that would be amazing if you could pull and have it generate content based on all the content of your course that's uploaded, and it was just pulling from that.
It may well be that it develops and there's a direct integration with OpenAI and it has the direct link feed through, so it actually learns from your own ChatGPT.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's something that will come in the future.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's already there to a certain extent because it doesn't just pull directly from ChatGPT. So, like when you, for instance, I'll give you a good example of it. Is when you generate a curriculum, it bases it off of that description and the titling inside there. So it is actually designed. It's not just pulling straight. The
Okay.
developers didn't just plug it straight in from ChatGPT. They actually developed it to work with the system. If you know Intercom, they use an AI system called Fin, and that generates content based off of the data for your account.
Right.
So I guess like Zenler are always heading that way to create that data, but you've always got to put that data in the first place.
Right.
So you probably created it and don't need ChatGPT anyway.
Well, but to your point, if you created it, you've got all the data and all the content loaded in, and the GPT tool can go through your content. It would be a much faster way to generate those quizzes and surveys because it's already pulling from what you taught it. So that's why I was curious if it was capable of doing that yet.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Not quite.
nice. We got Loriana's got her hand up. She's had it up for a while now.
Good morning.
Hello.
Well, my native language is Spanish, so I will do my best speaking English, okay? I do have a software that I created about 6 years ago. I'm an expertise in finance and help people get out of debt and control their finances in order to have like generation money or patrimony. So I created this software. So how can I put my software in the course? I do have a course. When they sign up, I just manually tell people like you have to go to the software. But how do I don't know if the word is embedded, or how do I get my software into the course?
Shall I answer this, Kevin?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so you're going to need a developer to develop the embed code or the HTML packs to put in there. So you're going to need them to do it. It's not something we do. So if you're talking about, and Kevin mentioned this earlier, you can upload HTML package and SCORM packages straight into any lesson. So if you've got a developer that knows what they're doing, and your actual software, if it's an online software, if it's a package software on the system, they need to do that so that it fits in there. We won't handle any of that for you. And if something goes wrong with code that you've put in there, again, we won't touch that. It's really up to you. So be very careful. It's like when we tell people about using CSS code or any of this sort of code, JavaScript inside the site, it's on your onus that you know what you're doing, because it would be kind of stupid to actually put code on there if you didn't know what you were doing, wouldn't it? So that's the same with the software. You need to make sure you've got someone who can put that together so it will show as a widget inside the site, and then it will be accessible by the lesson. So you'd be looking at HTML package, the HTML code block, or you'd be looking at SCORM if it's converted to a SCORM package. Yeah, so it's up to your developers to sort that out.
Okay, so I can ask my developer just to help me get into it will be in custom embedded, and he will put like the description or the code, and then the people will see it like a widget. Is that right?
I don't know how they're going to design it. So we could talk. It's like, is he going to use JavaScript? Because you're going to use JavaScript, then he'll want that in the course player globals include. And then you might then tap into putting it into the HTML block to access both. So it's really up to your developer. Your developer should know what he's doing and should be able to put it in those areas.
Maybe my question was like that, if I can like put my software in. So you're telling me yes. So now I have to speak with my developer in order to find out the way that the course will have like a widget, so people just click there and go to my software directly, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or you might want to send people directly to your software page. I mean, it's really up to you, but there needs to be that integration. Then you might think of, right, okay, well, if I'm sending them to my software page, then I'm going to need to make sure that it's pulling the registration details from Zenler so they're registered in my software page. So there's 101 different ways to go here, and it's all outside of the platform. So it's not something we can help too much with.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to speak with him. Thank you so much.
That's all right, Lorianne.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Me again. I couldn't quite follow when I'm trying to do it as you go along, which obviously is not ideal. But when I put in questions for the quiz, it doesn't seem to be a save button. Does it just automatically save? I'm just not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, it's got an auto save on it. So apart
Okay.
from you go into the settings, and then you just need to update the settings. So putting the questions in yourself, it'll auto save. But when you're changing the settings for it, you need to just click update.
Okay, so I don't need to do anything more than just write it in. I'm so
And
used to having to save and publish and everything.
and the thing is, it will go. It will save it into the lesson that you create it in, so you can't switch it into another lesson. So it'll build it in the one that you open. Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'd expect.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't need to do. Is there any publishing step required with these courses? Is it automatically set? Do I need to publish? Oh yeah, I do need to publish a course, don't I? But anything I change in the course, if it's already published, it will go. Will it go live?
Providing you haven't got it set to draft, right? So if you publish your course and then you add stuff in, unless you go in and set it to draft, it will automatically add it into the live course.
Right. Okay.
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 So, and you
Great.
have to go in and click draft. You can't, it won't do it all. It won't set it as draft and then you publish it. It will automatically put it in until you click draft.
Okay. So once I've published it, that is it, unless I reverse it by using draft.
So
Okay.
if you add extra lessons in or you add in
Yeah.
extra sections, well, it's the lessons. You need to go in, create the lesson, click draft, and then you can do whatever you like because nobody can see it.
Right. Got it. Okay. Great. I've learnt an awful lot in this hour.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, the draft mode is quite good because you can just, you can work on something inside there. You can still preview it as well. So you can preview it and you'll see that draft content, but no one else will if it's in draft, okay? So remember that. You can still preview, check it, say, oh, that's good, that's all working. And then you can undraft it and it will appear. And when people next log in. Now, sometimes if they're in there before you guys ask, like, oh, well, my students are not seeing that new content I put up. Sometimes it's a case that they need to log out because it's basically a caching issue. So next time they log in, then it just appears to them. So you've asked that as well. Was it you that asked that, Sarah, about if people see stuff straight away? Someone asked in, yeah. So if it's little things, I don't tend to tell people. But if I'm doing a big module, I want to shout about it to my members. So I always send out a mail saying, look, I've added this new section in there. Look, get this, then with screenshots in there. Because you want to make a big thing about it, that you're putting fresh content on there. And people know that they're not just buying something that's just like that and you've left it, you know. So it's a good idea to send out a mail if it's big content that you're putting in there, I think.
I thought I saw somewhere in these sessions that there will be you can click an option to send an email when there's been an update. Did I imagine that? Or do I have to manually create an email and do the screenshots?
Yeah, but it always makes me laugh, Sarah, when people say, do I have to do this? Do I have to? If you've got like a default sort of template set up, you can clone it, put your content in there, send it out. Do I have to create it from scratch? So if you're working from templates, you can work very, very quickly to output it. If they're part of a community, you could put a post in the community for that course, and then you can send it to all directly from there. That's what you might be thinking. So you can just put a post in there, put new content in there, and then you could send to all, and then they'll see it anyway as an email. So that's a way of doing it as well. It's a bit quicker than doing new automation or sending out a broadcast. The community's good for that. You can send quick responses out to people.
Okay.
We're going to cover that on Thursday.
All right, that was my next question. Yeah.
On the setup that we talked about last Thursday, we talked about clicking the button to add to a course to a community, right? But I haven't gone into communities because we're covering that on Thursday with Rakesh. So he'll show you exactly what David's just said, how you can communicate with all of the students in a course through a dedicated community, and it's really easy. You just click a button and it creates the notification for everybody that's in that course. So it's actually really easy to do. And on next Saturday, we're going to be covering the emails and the automation emails that are within the courses as well. Right, because they're all related. So you could actually, if you knew that you were going to release it on, let's say, the 1st of April, Yeah, you could be working happily on it, set an email automation up for that date, right? To send that email out pre-done. So when you went live, it just sent it. You wouldn't have to go in and do it. So there's a couple of ways of doing it.
Okay,
It's
thank
just
you.
how you want to do it.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Carol's got a hand up. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Hello.
Whoops. Hello. Yeah. Sorry, my voice is not good. But with the quizzes or surveys, is there a way to do something that it's like when you take these kind of, quizzes where it's like, what superhero are you? And based on, if you pick choice number one in every question, you're Superman, or choice number two, you're Batman, or that kind of a thing. Is that doable under your system?
I think you could probably do it under graded quizzes. So it would come up with a specific results page. And you could say you've got this score, so therefore you qualify as a advanced on dog training or whatever, or not. So I think you could work it around that way.
Okay.
So because everything's fed based on the parameters that you set in that. Yeah. So if it's the same as a pass or a fail within the quiz. So if you just grade it on a score in there, then you could say, right, your score was this. This is what level you're at with your knowledge, right? Like a bit like you're saying with the different superheroes. So, but if you want it all to be like a pass, but it's like a personality type thing rather than a knowledge based thing, that's a bit different.
Yeah, I mean, there's with the quizzes, with the surveys and things, we're going to like the branching, going to have the branching surveys, and you could theoretically, you're almost talking about gamification type thing, aren't you? Really, you're talking if you go that route, you're Batman. If that route, you go Superman or Spider-Man. And I guess when you start to think about doing things like branching systems, like branching quizzes, branching surveys, then that kind of thing's possible. Because then you could put a little figure in the corner or something that they're Batman, and because they've taken that branch, or they've gone that way because they're Spider-Man. So it's you're that sort of person, or you're that sort of person. So that could be possible to do, yeah. Getting little fiction things to come up. I don't think we're there yet with that, but maybe under the themes that could be set up.
And you're saying that would be through surveys, not through quizzes, or both?
It would be good to have both, wouldn't it? So you can do it. But I know that Rakesh is working with the surveys, and we're working with branching surveys. So maybe that's okay. But things are changing a lot with the quizzes and surveys. I mean, it's already been said, it's already been known that there's going to be surveys in marketing funnels. So you can take surveys straight into there, and it's not even part of the courses. It's like another thing. But obviously, we're not going to announce all that stuff until it's out. Kevin will probably do that in office hours.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's all very informative.
Sarah's put it a little advanced for me. Sarah, it's not, I don't think it's advanced, is it, Kevin? It's just like different. People are just talking about different ways of doing things. So I did a video before branching surveys showing how using a marketing funnel you can create a branching system that if they click one option they go somewhere, if they click another they go somewhere else, and that's what it's all about. So it's just taking a different route is what was said there by Carol. We got a question, Kevin. Noemi's put, do we have surveys in Zenler? Which we have.
Who's asked that?
Nohemi?
Yeah, we've got just went through the surveys.
She must have been away there.
Ah, maybe you missed that. Yes, but we do have surveys in Zenler. That is available, yes. Through a course.
Okay. Right, any more questions, guys? Barbara's quiet today. Come on, Barbara. Sarah's got a hand up.
It was. So I still didn't really. I know we talked about this, but I still didn't understand how to use the Zenler AI. It was. I've got my question down. To get the quiz, I got confused. We were talking about ChatGPT and the Zenler AI, and when I tried to do it myself, it looked like it wouldn't work unless I put some content of my own into the bigger box. So first of all, it wouldn't let me do it because it said you haven't got a topic, even though I did have a topic. But then when I because it was like, what do I understand about yoga? So I just put a couple of things, and then it generated the quiz. I'm just not quite understanding the process. So would you mind clarifying it for me?
Yeah. We're going to add a quiz. We'll give it a quiz title. Dog training. We're going to add our quiz. Can still generate here using AI. So if we click here, let me go back. Sorry.
But why does it keep showing that sort of no entry sign? That also confused me.
No entry sign.
Well, it's. I don't know what it is. My highway code is not great. It's a circle with the diagonal line through it. It was appearing just then.
Let's go step by step and stop me where you get stuck.
Okay.
So we're in our lesson. We're going to click quiz. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to give our quiz a title. And we're going to create the quiz with AI. Okay, you with me so far?
Yeah.
So it will come up. It's got a title. We're not having it graded. With a question type. So do we want multiple choice, multiple response, true or false? Okay. We choose what questions we want. So we can add examples in here if we wish, and we can add how difficult we want to make the question. We then click over here to text.
So, sorry, what's the example there? What you said you can add
Well,
an
I've just
example.
left it empty. I've left it empty. I've not put anything in there. You can put whatever you want in there. So you could have an example of multiple choice. So it could be.
Make it like a Labrador or something. So specific topic.
So walking on a long lead is a good idea. Okay.
Topic. Okay.
So you're telling it a type, and you're giving it an example of the type of question.
Exactly.
Imagine it like a title, and now you've got to give it a little bit of description of what you want, which is a text. So topic, title, it's the main thing, and then text.
I want it under this theme. So training my dog to walk on a lead. I want multiple choice questions. I want it to generate. I want 3 questions. Well, I'll ask it for 5 questions if I like. I don't mind. This is an example of what a good question would be. Okay, and I want it easy. I don't want it make it too difficult for people. So once I filled out the topic bit, I then click here for text. Okay.
Yeah.
So still got my title up here, still ungraded. So create quiz with AI, Still multiple choice, 5 questions. Type or paste your text here to create questions based on your notes. So whatever I put in here, and we've got up to 2,500 characters. Yeah.
Right, so that's where you might use ChatGPT to generate some content on the topic, and you could just paste it in there.
So I want
Yeah. Or your own.
quiz for new dog walkers that are learning to walk with a large dog, such as a Doberman or Labrador. These questions should be really easy, based for people in the UK. Something like that, right?
Okay.
So it just gives it a bit of context for it. Now that's not a lot of characters there, to be honest.
Right,
And then
what's that? Sorry, that symbol above the generate quiz button. What's that? Yeah.
Oh, that's my Grammarly. That's got nothing to do with Zenler at all. That's for it comes up with when it thinks I've
Spell
spelled it.
check. Yeah, it's just a spell checker. It's confusing.
So ignore that. It's always telling me off because I've not put a capital in or a full stop or something like that. So you won't see that. Okay.
Right.
But then we just double check for multiple choice. We've got our topic title in here. We've got our 5 questions. We've got a difficulty set as easy. We've set our topic already. Then we just click generate quiz. And it will go off and it'll have a little think. And then hopefully it will come up with some reasonable questions for us.
And then you can edit those questions if you want to.
See, this is completely inappropriate. Which breed of dog is known for its intelligence and loyalty? It's not really appropriate for this type of quiz.
Yeah.
What is the essential equipment needed for dog walking? Well, that is appropriate, right? So binocular sunglasses.
That really is easy, isn't it? Sunglasses every time.
So you could add in a harness, maybe, something like that. Whatever you wanted. So that's quite a good question, and it's saying that's the one. That green tick is saying that's the correct answer. Right. If we want to change it to that being the correct answer, we just click.
Okay, and it's auto saving here.
It's auto saving, yes.
Right, and if I don't like it, I just press that little delete button I see up there in the top right.
Yeah, delete question.
Okay. So that other one about the breed. Yeah.
So I've just got rid of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's delete that one because we don't like that one either.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great.
All other ones here. If we want to add in another question, we can. We could just add one in here. So if we want to add in some of our own questions, a true or false, for example, we can add that in. Yeah. And that's it. It's that simple, and it's all saved, all of it. So the only time you start getting involved in other things is, if you want to get involved in the quiz settings over here. But it's everything in here, as far as I'm aware, is all autosave.
Yeah, someone was asking about how to create a custom theme. So Kevin's already in that area. You can see he's now added like an image in there. You can edit those themes and you can make them your own. So you can go in and you can save them out. And what's great about Zenler is you've only got to do it once. And the next time you set a quiz up, that theme will be in there. And you can just click it and it'll apply it. So you haven't got to do it multiple times for each one. You can just set up your own branding and then you can just pop it in there each time. And that's exactly the same with the survey, Sandy, as well, yeah?
So it won't apply your own branding that's set up elsewhere?
No, because it doesn't know what you're going to use. This is for this. It's not going to put your logo in and things like that. Although you could put it into the background image. It's more a case that you're just making it styled. Because remember, it all takes place in the Zenler site anyway, which is already branded. So you don't want branding on top of branding. So it's just sitting in your site as a branded site.
Okay. I was thinking about my predefined colours and fonts.
Yeah, put those all in there.
Yeah.
But it's really
You can
easy to
select
do.
those
You just click
colours.
this little palette thing up here, and it gives you all the options down the side here. You can change the background image if you want.
Font type, the font size.
Yeah.
So you've got all those options in there, and then they're saved out, and they'll be in your themes for the next time you set up. Now, for quizzes, it will save it separately from surveys, so don't expect the theme from quizzes to be in the surveys one as well. You'll need to set it up separately.
And remember, there is a little save button here.
Yeah, always. That's one. Although the lesson or the quiz questions are saved automatically, if you change anything in the settings side, you'll need to make sure you click save. Okay, so it really locks it in. That's the only part. The rest is auto saving for questions.
Mm.
There you go. Theme saved successfully.
That's it. Okay, thank you. That has clarified the process. Thank you.
All right.
Where you gone, Kevin? There you are.
Here. Right. Have we got any more questions? Any more for any more?
No, I think we're done.
Good. I'm glad Elliot's motivating you.
Scott saying, if you want to make sure the students are paying attention, change walking the dog to walking a human. That'd be funny.
I think the thing is that you just it's easy to ignore these bits when we get very focused on, well, my course has these elements. I just like to do a video and that's it. And that's all I've ever put in my courses. The thing is, people nowadays as students expect a little more, and they want more engagement with whatever that is. And the quizzes and surveys really allow you to do that. The same with the assignments. I know so many instructors that get frustrated that their students never finish their courses. And when you look at a course with an instructor and you actually go through it and you go, well, hang on a minute, do I need to learn that first module really, really well to move on to the next one and the next one? And they're like, well, they can't do number 2 and 3 until they really understand. Well, how do you know they've learned module 1 properly? And they go, well, I don't know. Bang an assignment in there. Don't let them move on until they've proven that they can do it. Bang a quiz in there. Don't let them move on until they've proven they can do it. And what will happen is you're actually serving your students really, really well by making sure that their foundation knowledge is good enough to move through the course, or otherwise you'll feel you've not succeeded as an instructor, right? Because they've not been a good student. In a classroom situation, it's really easy because you can sit there and go, you tell me what the answer to this is. What's that? What's this? Can you demonstrate that for me? You know, if you're teaching Spanish, say that in Spanish. And if they can't, then you go back and go, right, you need to now learn that before we move on. That's how you do it in a classroom. But when we're doing it and they're doing it on their own, how do we check that? Well, we check it by doing assignments and quizzes and surveys, right? And we don't let them move on until they can demonstrate it or answer the questions correctly in the quiz, right? Then your chance of your success of them being a graduate of your course will be higher. And we all know what that leads to. That leads to them buying the next course. If they don't complete your first course, they're never going to buy your second course. It's that simple. So you have to put an extra effort into making sure that the completion rates are as high as they possibly can by using the tools you've already got access to. And I bet you, if I polled the group in Zenler, how many of the course creators in there actually use either quizzes or assignments in their first modules, I bet you the number's really, really, really low. I bet you. And then if my next question was, what's your completion rate? I'll bet it'll be less than 5%. And there is a direct correlation between the two.
Yeah, I guess it's why Zenler's pushing towards doing all gamification and things like that to just get, and also the community, isn't it, to get that engagement and drive going through. I mean, I don't use quizzes in my courses. I don't use assignments. I just use a video. That's it. I just have video lessons, a lot of video lessons, but it's just video. It works for me, but I have a community. So that's how you drive in the engagement. If I didn't, I would definitely think, and it depending on the subject as well, I think matters as well, Kevin, doesn't it? Like certainly like this more, you know, if you're like English or maths or these things, you want to make sure that people are understanding what you're talking before they move on.
Yeah.
So it does matter a lot. So be careful, whatever you guys are teaching, if there has to be these steps of learning, then what we're talking about today is really, really important.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of courses that do involve progression, as in you have to know the module before to move on to the next module. I do think there are some that you don't need to do that. So, for example, if you were running a membership and you was an artist and you were teaching 20 different brush techniques, right? You may not necessarily need to learn the brush technique in module 1 to do the brush technique in module 10, right? Because that might be the one you want in module 10, right? You don't care about module 1, you're never going to use it, right? So I sort of get it in that way. But if you're teaching someone to draw, let's say you're teaching them to draw the human form, for example, right? And module 1 is the basic structuring and perspective and all of that. And then module 2 is adding, I don't know, adding limbs in or whatever, right? If you don't understand perspective, you're never going to get onto the next bit. Like, it's going to look weird.
Yeah, but it's like, to show like Zenler as a case study for this. This is why we say to everybody, do the quick start guide.
Yeah.
You know, that's a classic example. Because we have questions that come in that are clearly basic questions, and we know straight away that no one's gone through that 2-hour course, which to learn the basics before moving on. So we get all these questions. It's quite frustrating, but you can't, you know, you can't force people. We can't force you to sit and watch this stuff. Sit there until you're finished. You're not going anywhere. But we want you to do it because we know how much time it will save you. And I guess like using quizzes and surveys and things like that can help push people through.
I think you have to use them appropriately. I think if you had like an assignment after every lesson, I think people would get fed up real quick, let alone the fact it would drain so much of your time having to go in and look at them. If you had 100 students and they were really raging through your courses, you could be completely overwhelmed with doing assignments and hold people up because you can't reply quick enough. So you sort of got to use it in the right way and pick the really important bits as to where you want them. You've got to know that bit to do the next bit. If you don't, it just won't work for you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
If you do it all of the time, it might get on their nerves. Quizzes are a little bit different because if you do it so it doesn't stop their progress, right, that could just be a fun thing at the end of it. It's just something a bit different, right? The same with the surveys. You don't have to hold up their progress on it. And you don't have to in assignments, to be fair. You can just let them move on if you want to. But, you know, the purpose of it is to make sure they've got an understanding. You know, and specifically with assignments, they give you direct feedback on something. So you might have asked them to write an essay if you're an English teacher, for example, and you need to mark that before they move on, because otherwise they might need to go back and learn some different writing techniques. But, you know, it does come, it's a balancing act of your time against them not getting frustrated by stopping their progress with actually learning enough to move on to the next bit. Where does all that tie in together? But I do think there's a place for it.
Yeah, and it's Sandy's written here. This is quite a good one as well. Her example is not consecutive, so they don't need to learn things in a consecutive thing, but they need to know bits, and then they can pick out the parts they need to know. And I will now say about Zenler again, that's exactly what we've done. We've put down a base thing in the quick start guide, and then we tell you now pull out the bits you need from the complete guide to Zenler. So we don't expect you to watch it all because it's, you know, a lot of hours, but you can pull out the bits that you know. So again, it's exactly the same as Sandy's saying there, except we do have that core. You've got to know that bit first.
Yeah. But this is where you know your topic, right? And this is where you know your students and how they learn. So, you know, if you've been running these for a while and you're seeing the same pattern of fall off, where people are stopping, and you can see it in all your analytics, right? Within Zenler, you can look at where are people falling off your courses, where are they not going, are they not getting to module 3 or lesson 5 or whatever it is? Well, what is it that stopped them from progressing any further? Is it because they're overwhelmed, they've gone too far ahead and they've just lost and they don't know what they're doing? You know, so even on this call, you know, I went through the quizzes and Sarah, you know, we had to step back to go and show you a little bit differently the same thing, because otherwise you'd have been left going, I'm not really sure I get that. So it's exactly like that, but you don't have that person on the call with you. So you sort of got to guess where that fall off is. And it'll be different for all of you. But that's why the analytics are so important and why we focused on that in session 1, to really understand what are people doing in your system, where are they stopping?
Yeah.
And then it's your job to work out what that is. Now you might well be really proactive and email those people or say, look, can we just jump on a quick 5-minute Zoom and let me find out, why did you stop using this course? What stopped you from going any further? And get direct feedback. Right, go old school and just ring them, because that will then help you become a better instructor. It might be you need to restructure your course slightly.
Yeah, that's why we like feedback, isn't it, Kevin? It's like we say to you, like if you like what we're doing with this series of lessons, then put it in the Facebook group. If you don't like it, put it in the Facebook group, because like if you got negative stuff coming in, it helps us make a decision on it depends. If it's one person, 2 people, the majority like it, then you've got to go with the majority, haven't you? We had the same thing right at the beginning. We were talking about this before we went live, weren't we, Kevin? About Jackie, who's not in here today, was saying, why are we just streaming into the Facebook group? Why don't you just open it up to Zoom and people can come straight in there? Well, we looked at it and we were like, well, okay, so we've done that and you guys are in there. But actually, as a business, if you look at our Facebook feed now, we haven't got many comments on there. We haven't got many people interacting on the Facebook group because you guys are all in here. So if we were trying to get our community going, we've got a good community, we want it really active on that feed. So we were doing the right thing, because those first 2 lives we did, we had a ton of comments, and then we let you in at the end. Now we've got very few, but you guys are with us in here the whole time. So what's right and what's wrong? It's like that as well. And I've got Scott here. He's put an interesting point, Kevin. He's put but if you don't know the tools you have available, it limits your skill set, which it does. So that's why we do things like this. Kevin goes through and tells you what the assignments are, the quizzes are, what the surveys are. Why we tell you join our YouTube channel, because we always put our new feature releases on our YouTube channel, so you guys can know what's going on. Because there's so many times we tell people about a feature and they're like, I didn't even know that exists, and it's been out for like 6 months. So if you're following our YouTube channel, then you're getting those things as well.
But to put that into perspective, so session 1 that we did for the workshop, we had 250, just over 250 Facebook comments. On this session, we've had 13. 13.
A lot in here, though.
A lot in here, but we had a lot in Zoom on the first session as well, because people came from Facebook onto Zoom when we opened the cameras up.
Yeah, so we're rethinking.
So we're now sitting there looking at that going, what do we value more? as a company, and that will be discussed with other people in Zenler as well. It's not just down to David and I to make that decision. It's discussed as a team. Do we want more engagement on the Facebook group, knowing how the engagement in the Facebook group means other posts get further reach because we're training that group with Facebook? Or do we listen more to the community who want to be direct in Zoom right from the beginning, even though you can only interact in the chat for the first half an hour of the session? So we've got to weigh that up now and decide what's going to go ahead for the next workshop.
Yeah, and this guys, we're not just talking about Zenler here. We're saying you should be thinking about these things, right? Because if you want to get a big audience and a big following going on, and you hold it in a closed area that's not streamed out to anywhere else, you're losing one place that it's going out to, and you're not getting the build up of like, I missed it, I've seen the replay, next time I want to be there live, because you're only holding it in your closed little environment. So that's the whole reason that we started streaming into the Facebook group, and we want to multi-stream into YouTube as well. And it's purely for the audience base and building out. And you guys should be doing that for your businesses. You should be thinking. That's why we're telling you this now, so that hopefully it helps you.
Yeah, I agree, Sandy. YouTube does have a better reach. So as a business, it might be more sensible for us to stream onto YouTube rather than in the Facebook group. But also think of this, when we get the opportunity to stream into a Zenler community, which is an open community, how's that going to work for us?
Yep. That's another thing.
That's a whole other kettle of fish there that we're opening, right?
Can you not live stream to both?
We can if we use a different service. If we use something like StreamYard or Restream,
right?
From Zenler, obviously from Zoom, you can only stream output to one. But using software like I generally do, like OBS, I can stream to multiple outputs. But we want the whole team doing it, not just me. So it's something we're going to do, but we haven't done it yet. But then we don't want to leave out, because most of our group are on the Facebook group. So even though I like YouTube better, be honest, Facebook is where you guys are. So we do here, and we'd like to do it into a community and get all of you guys across to Facebook, across to Zenler's community and off of Facebook as soon as possible.
It's always good, and even at Zenler, as big as the company is, it's still good to reassess these things, keep your eye on it, because things are always changing, and you have to change with what you need. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And it doesn't matter if it's just you as an instructor on your own, you still have these questions that you have to answer and work out, not only what is good for your students, but where does it meet that it's good for you and your business as well, right? And for me, assignments is a really precarious one, because if you have it as a graded assignment that they can't move on until you've graded that assignment or accepted it, that could end up sucking up a lot of your time and putting you under a lot of pressure, right? Because you don't quite know when that assignment's going to come in unless you do it on a timed drip of content. So that could be quite emotionally damaging for you to be put under that pressure. Maybe you don't want that pressure, or you don't have that time. So then you've got to weigh up the balance. Well, would it be okay to not hold that lesson or module up and still grade it, but allowed to move on while I take time to grade that? And all these things you have to constantly balance and try and work out. And then it comes down to testing. Test it and experiment with it, because the great thing about online is what you do today doesn't mean you've got to do it tomorrow. You can always change your strategy and go, well, I'll do it for now. And like we are with this, we're putting out the Zoom links. Well, we've committed to do it for the rest of this workshop, but we might not do it again for the next workshop. I don't know. We'll work that one out, and then we'll just let everybody know. So, it's that's the thing. There's no real right or wrong way behind it. You just have to work primarily what works for you and your students, and they'll all be different. I've had multiple messages from people in Australia saying we shouldn't be running a workshop at 1 p.m. GMT because it's midnight for them. It's not fair. I said, well, okay, well, but if we run it at 9 p.m. GMT, well, that's not fair on other people then it's midnight for them. When we've got people in such a wide coverage of time zones, how do we get that right? I'll tell you, in the biggest question as a team we've had to try and answer over the 5 years I've been involved with David and this, isn't it? What time do we run stuff? Because there's always someone that it's not a good time for.
Oh yeah, but we've done our testing as well. It's
Well, I
like
remember doing office hours and everybody complained that office hours was at 4 p.m. So we changed it and we put in a 9 a.m. slot. I even did a 6 a.m. slot to get people in because they swore to me they'd turn up and nobody turned up for it. I'm like, well,
I
that's
had
great.
the
You
same.
complained it's not there. You've done
The
it,
same.
you're not there. So we ditched it and we said, okay, well, you didn't turn up. Hey ho, that's fine. But we
Yeah.
can't sit there. We've got to go with what the majority are looking for right now. And we do switch it up. I mean, we don't always do 1 o'clock. A lot of the ones we did last year were at 4 p.m. So
4
we do
p.m.
late
Yeah.
on in the day. So
Yeah. I want to do some morning ones as well. I used to do the morning mentorships and or we've even done double ones when we've run a workshop. We've run one at 9 a.m. and then we run one at 4 a.m. We did that, I think, for the OBS workshop. But it's a big, because you're repeating the same stuff. It's a bit too much for me. to 2 hour and then another 2 hour. I can't talk.
but when we had Alice, who was in the US, she was in Florida, she would run them at 11, 12 o'clock UK time, which was better for other markets, which is fine. But, it is the way that it is. But as I say, as far as you guys are all concerned, certainly with the course stuff, you have to work out what works for you. And then make sure that you've got the right students coming in for that and that you can manage that appropriately, because it's no good for your students if you're burnt out trying to do assignments and quizzes and all that stuff. If you're holding them up, because it's another reason for them to not complete. And let's face it, students don't need a lot of reasons not to complete a course.
There's a lot to think about. We've got Ellie. Ellie's had her hand up for ages. She wants to talk to you, Kevin.
Come on, Ellie.
Hey guys. So my question is, can a student upload a video in an assignment? So if I want to see, if they're doing a physical movement correctly, can they upload like a 1 minute video that I can
Yeah.
then assess?
There's I believe there's a size limit on the uploads, isn't there? But if it's just a short video, it's not going to be a problem. If they're going to upload War and Peace in a video,
Right,
then
right.
probably going to be a bit of a problem.
Oh, I would definitely say if it's over a minute, I'm not watching.
Yeah. Let's set the parameters, and just say to them, tell them what you want. If you say, do me a minute video, you will get people that do 2 or 3, but it'll be a few.
So not Lord of the Rings.
No.
But you can set it. So if we're talking about a 1 minute video, even if it's hugely inflated, you could put in there 20 to 30 megabytes. And if they try and upload something bigger, it won't upload. So you can set the file limit. When you look in there, you'll see uploads and you'll see the little number next to it. So you can put like 30. If you want to test yourself, you could just do a quick 1 minute Zoom with yourself, download that file, have a look at the file size of it, and then you can use that as a baseline. So take that file size, double it, and use that as the baseline for people to send a minute video. Say sub 1 minute, otherwise you can't upload it, because then it'll be over the file limit. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Is that what you teach then, Ellie? You teach yoga?
Not yoga specifically, but I do core movement work. So it's a bit different. It's based on a modality called Feldenkrais. And I teach